Oh, it's on. It's gone.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of...
You had a name, huh? It was going to be funny. You're going to open with that joke and kill him. And then the show is just going to be great from there. And now look what happened. It's all downhill.
Dirt and Apocalypse's Excellent Adventure. No?
Hi. My name is Surf Buttery Nipple. This is Baron Yeager. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Today we are going to be talking about taxes, what you can do about accruing interest,
Tariffs.
and the new hit you're going to take on your dividends this year.
Escrow accounts.
Escargot accounts.
Yes. Snails.
Cargo pants. All of these things are things that you're going to need.
Nothing about pop culture whatsoever.
Hey, so
or comic books.
Hey, let's pour some of this liquor. We've got liquor here. We've got this.
Yeah, we're just
Baron
Yeager
Yeager honey
start
liquor.
drinking now.
I mean, we've got some beers, but this is just kind of like backup stuff to like keep your throat coated. This is what the drinks are tonight. We've got this, and we got a bottle of Jameson, so I think we're good. And the other thing is, I keep wanting him to hold up his glass and then not actually pour it in there, just keep explaining things, because that's what people want to see. But here, I'll do mine. It's like syrup, like it pours out like maple syrup. Hold your glass up. I don't know if any of this is going to show up, but it's like glug, 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 glug.
It's Robitussin.
It's like a more liquid version of honey.
When your car breaks down and you need to replace the oil, just pour that in the tank.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Comiholics. This is Comiholics episode 27.
Are you sure?
I am positive.
Absolutely.
27 episodes.
You know Prison Pit?
I'll never be done.
Is Prison Pit done with you?
No.
That's one of our only studio audience
I need
member
that.
this evening. Thanks for attending. The Huckster.
Cheers. It's Huckamania running wild.
And welcome back. All of us comic files decided to get together for one more episode.
Before we throw in the towel, give up.
One last time.
This is it. This is the last one ever going to do.
And it is the holidays, so it's about Christmas time, just about.
Is it like a week to Christmas?
By the time this comes out, it'll probably be right before Christmas.
No, don't touch now. Now you do not touch. No touch.
Somebody got a new tablet.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on Invincible issues on there.
Okay.
Because I got to read like 30 of them before we hit segment 3. So,
what are our segments?
We're going to talk about comics. We're going to talk about comics less sober. Then we're going to talk about comics in a more drunken manner. And then we're just going to talk about Prison Pit, which,
Prison Pit!
I mean, it's going to be like you're on mushrooms even if you're sober, so it doesn't matter. Although before we get started, because this is a holiday thing, I brought you something for the holiday.
Yeah. I brought something too,
right? Big fella. Who's going to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Thanks! I always wanted that, a big pile of nothing.
No, go ahead, you go first.
What? Oh, okay.
Well, I might have brought a couple different things.
Oh, okay.
And then depending on what I get.
Oh, I see. He's trying to outdo me.
In the box.
Okay, alright. Well, this is for you, Dirt. And you know what? It's well, go ahead. It's kind of ironic. It's ironic.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
It's, is it a case for my old tablet? It's, a hairpiece? No. It's a 3-ring binder.
It's a cod piece.
It's a coffin for
I bought you a
tablet.
Comiholics custom-made cod piece.
And just so you guys know, you guys are like, oh wow, he wrapped it. Yeah, he wrapped it in like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So.
Because I wanted to outdo him.
Yeah, because mine's not wrapped, so he's like, I'm gonna wrap it. So here we go. Merry Christmas! Whoa!
And I did.
Tablet case.
And the funny thing is, my joke was he just got a 10-inch tablet, and my joke was going to be I got you a 10-inch tablet case, but it's for your smaller tablet. And then he gets.
And then I got a new 10-inch tablet, so
yeah.
which I was using like this really crappy cheap tablet case for that.
No, that's pretty heavy duty. I think you could like drop that off of something and it'd probably be okay.
So that's why you were.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there it goes.
Very cool.
Oh, check it
that out.
All right. Well, okay. So what I got you here? Close your eyes, because like I said, I didn't laugh it.
Should I leave my mouth open?
No.
So here.
No, don't do that.
Now hold out your hand. There you go.
Oh wow! Where did you get these?
Those are coasters
Wow.
for all new X-Men
Hey,
number
wait a minute.
1.
What?
See, they're kind of like the Avengers vs.
Oh,
X-Men ones we had,
yeah,
but now
okay.
these are all new X-Men.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
You
And
should
then,
throw my
I also have this in the bag just in case you might want it. Wow.
We're playing
Show the
this.
folks at home.
Okay.
It's Simpson Sorry.
Wow.
That's good.
Thank you, Dirt.
Our native.
Yes, in our native land of Springfield.
Yes, that's right.
Fantastic. So we're going to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning.
We're going to have to play Sorry after we get blitzed.
Sorry.
No, we're going to do it in between, like segments 2
We have
and 3.
to make up our own rules, though. It's probably going to involve physical abuse. Fantastic. Well, Merry Christmas. All right. We got
What'd
that
you
out
get
of
me,
the way.
Huckster?
What
That beer you held up earlier? That's what I
What
got.
did we get him?
I
Thanks
got you
for
some beer.
attending.
I'll take the Baron Jaeger.
Hey, you're on our show.
I'm gonna have this brownie.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Those are like some
I
kind
don't
of
care what they are. It's mine.
It's like some
Merry
kind of
Christmas to me.
some kind of like big compilation my wife made. I'm pretty sure they're not tainted.
Oh, it'd have been
If
sitting
you
there.
get a little dizzy after the first one, don't eat 2. Just a little word of advice.
Look, just to be fair, I didn't bring, the Huckster a gift. And in my defense, I don't really like him. So, I mean, it all works out.
Well, I don't like him either, but he just keeps coming.
You invite him.
Oh, that's
the mistake.
You guys' eyes lighted up when I walked in the door. You're like, oh my god,
We
no,
have a guest!
At least one person's gonna listen to the madness.
Merry Christmas, Huckster.
Thanks, man.
Here,
Cheers, salute.
Here, have a coaster.
Bring
Let's
it in.
open this back. You can.
Bring
I thought
it.
you were gonna hand me one of Eris's
Bring it in.
for the apocalypse.
All right.
I guess I have to take a drink now.
It tastes like having a naked encounter with Natasha Romanoff in like the snow.
Oh,
Like
gee,
the-
how did you remember that name?
I don't know.
How'd that
You
come
did
to
not pour me the same liquor.
Yeah. What?
Not Romanov? I didn't see any Romanov in
No,
snow.
Natasha Romanoff.
Black Widow?
Black Widow.
I know who it is.
Oh, okay.
You ain't nerd. You ain't nerd. You ain't nothing.
So I guess we're gonna talk about what we've been currently reading.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Now the funny thing is, usually I have like a big old stack, but I had to read issues.
25?
I think I was like at 47 of Invincible, and I had to read all the way up to 98 for the show.
See, I just start with like 16 or something. Whew.
Yeah, well, I've read like several volumes.
But I didn't make it all the way to 98. So we'll worry about that later, though.
So usually this stack is really thick. It's pretty thick.
And it takes you 45 minutes
And-
to get through it. I'm sorry, what?
Okay, so we'll jump right into Action Comics. Have you ever read any of the recent Action Comics?
Have I? Have I? Have I?
Yes.
Is that Hell on Earth?
No, this is with
Yes,
Kryptonite Man.
Yes,
and
I've read those.
What's up with the Angels? This whole like parallel dimension alien angels. Like,
okay. They actually explain all that in 15.
well, tell me. Just go ahead and spoil it for me.
Yeah, it's Mixopilic. Remember that guy?
No.
The other dimensional imp.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, can't
okay.
you say his name
Mostly in like
backwards? You
Fantastic Four, right? Was he mostly in Fantastic Four?
You mean Impossible Man? That's in Marvel. This is DC.
I'm sorry, Impossible Man. Excuse me.
Impossible Man in Marvel. Mr. Mixopilic in DC.
Gotcha.
That's the old lady that lives in Clark Kent's building that's like always doing like laundry on the roof or whatever.
Okay.
She's the wife of Mr. Mixopilic, whatever.
Sir Mix-a-Lot?
And somehow it ties in with this whole kind of little demon guy.
Okay,
And,
alright,
and I'm not.
stop right there. Aren't you just a little bit kind of lost with Action Comics right now?
I am, but I do get the feeling like it's going somewhere. Like I'm totally.
I feel like this
confused,
is like a we're in like a waiting room for something good to happen.
I just get the feeling like it's building to something. Like it seems like he's dropping every issue. You get like this tiny little nugget you know, and all the nuggets will add up into one giant happy meal.
And that's kind of the Grant Morrison style, don't you think?
It is.
So
he doesn't want to make it easy on you.
no, he doesn't want to give it away all at once. But that's what keeps.
He's not handing it out like some street corner whore.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like the craft of being a good comic book writer is, you know, issue by issue. You know, so. It's good. I mean, it's good. It's just I'm a little lost right now. I'm confused. So 15 explains
this was
it.
Pointless.
Daniel.
Yeah.
With the Kryptonite Man. Okay. We won't even talk about that. How about End Times?
How about it? Hey, guess what? The Wasp isn't dead. She was in a different universe.
Don't you think that was kind of a big deal?
Or something.
It's kind of a big deal.
It's the Wasp. Who cares?
But it was always kind of like a sore subject with all the superheroes that the Wasp was gone.
Who cares? It's the Wasp.
Okay.
I mean, that's like saying Black Lightning couldn't make it to the party.
So she's like in this micro universe, and she's basically pissed off the big bad guy, and she hits her old Avengers card.
And it somehow works now where it didn't before, or whatever.
Right.
Or she just found it.
Yeah.
Or
She lost it in the laundry, and like she was, you know, folding her whites, and she found it. Okay. Let's see. There's Uncanny X-Force Wolverine combo. I'm reading.
They go together?
They don't really go together, but it's like I'm
Wolverine's
always
in both?
Yeah. I'm always kind of reading the two. Seems like side by side.
Are you going to read the new Cable in the X-Force?
I don't like Cable. I thought we were done with Cable. I thought he died like 6 times. How many times is he gonna like come back? I need to save Hope.
But
Hope needs to be saved.
He time travels, so you never know if this is which like earlier version of him is coming through. He's like genital herpes. He never completely goes away.
Are you talking about the Liefeld versions there? Is that?
I think I'm just talking about Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld is genital herpes.
Hey, well, we'll be getting commendations from Liefeld after this.
Any combinations?
Accommodations.
He's giving you his foot locker?
How about Uncanny Avengers? Red Skull kind of build up.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
How is Red Skull back?
He was never really gone in the first place.
Well, he kind of was gone, though.
I don't know. I didn't read Captain America. Okay. So, I mean, did you read Captain America?
No. Any Captain America fans out there, you want to fill us in? I don't know.
What do you think of Uncanny? What do you think of him stealing brains and making...
I mean, it's kind of got that, Nazi,
human experimentation thing
feel to it, which is kind of cool. Not that I promote any kind of Nazi behavior. I'm just saying it's kind of cool that it's, like, building more of that.
So here's a quote for this episode.
Character.
Apocalypse says,
No.
Nazi, kind of cool.
No. My Jewish brethren would not find that very funny. No.
But you go to a Lutheran church.
No, but I mean, it's like more true to...
What Jew goes to a Lutheran church?
It's
You go to
it's
church?
not true to kind of that whole... Man, you just told me. Walking Dead 104.
Oh, you haven't read 105 yet?
No. I'm like 2 weeks behind. I'm only like 2 weeks behind. Give me a break.
Are you pouring
Yes.
tomato juice and you're making a clamato?
I am making a very ghetto clamato, yes.
Wow.
I don't know, I picked that up in San Diego.
You like it, huh? I don't like V8 juice.
I like V8 juice. I'll drink
No,
straight V8 juice.
because I just feel like I'm drinking pasta sauce.
You see, I like vegetables. I
I
don't
just
like
think of
fruit
pasta
very
sauce.
much. So fruity flavor stuff, I don't really care for it. But vegetable flavor.
Walking Dead 104. So, I mean, there's no spoilers here because 105 just came out. So, Carl has
He's stowed away
back
with,
to
Negan's dude.
Yeah, on the truck, and he guns blazing. Like they open the back of the truck up, and
he kills like 6 dudes.
He's got like an M16 and just unleashes. And then Negan gets his opportunity to just they finally get the kid down. He gets his opportunity to seek vengeance and pummel the kid, and decides that they're not going to. Almost admirably respects the kid somehow.
Well, he knows he's a good bargaining chip. If Rick comes and tries to do any sort of attack, then he just goes, "Hey, look, I got your kid," and so it'll be interesting to see how they follow up with that.
What I think what's going to happen? Do you think Carl's going to go to the dark side and become Negan's little apprentice? You think that's what's going on here? Because there was a lot of rifts between Carl and Rick.
I almost think Carl will actually kill Negan and try to take his place as leader of that colony.
As a kid?
As a kid.
Wow. That's kind of a stretch.
Well, because what makes me think of that is like there are all those.
Watch, you
there are all
just
those stories.
quoted me saying that, and like weeks
No,
from
no,
now
no.
we'll be like, I see it.
There are all those stories that come out of places like Cambodia and Burma, where they have like you always see like the little like Filipino kids smoking cigarettes with the M16 rifle in their hand.
Well, because they're
Tropic
more.
Thunder.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
have that sort of like moral ambiguity where like they just. Like,
Well,
don't
they
care.
grew up in war, so
Yeah.
it doesn't make any difference to them. So I kind of see Carl as being like one of those kids. Like he's really growing up in war. It's been a couple of years now in the Walking Dead universe, and this is really all he remembers.
And then as far as like the core group with Rick, I think Andrea is pretty disgusted with Rick at this point. Everybody's disgusted with Rick because Rick's like, no, we need to play along. But secretly he has something going on. Like he's got an ace up his sleeve where he's gonna
if you haven't read it yet, if it didn't happen in 104, then in 105 she's actually packing a bag, getting ready to move out.
That's 104.
Oh, okay.
So still great stuff. You know, I really kind of.
Oh, and in 105, Carl takes off his bandages.
Oh,
So you can see his wound.
Oh, it's just like a hole.
You wait until you read 105.
Okay, all right. How about Justice League 13?
How
and 14?
about Justice League? With the cheat.
The cheetah. So what's happened here is the woman that now is the cheetah is one of Superman's friends, which we have to remember.
I
At
thought it
this
was
point,
Wonder Woman's.
no, it's one of. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. Wonder Woman's friends. I told you I've read a lot of Invincible lately. But the woman that took over the cheetah is actually not a very good person and has deceived Wonder Woman. And so now the tribe that is normally like worships the person that becomes the cheetah is after her, hunting her down because they know she's evil. And now Superman in 13 gets plagued by the cheetah curse.
And he becomes a cheetah.
Right.
He was a cheetah man. He becomes Chester.
Cheetah Man.
Chester Cheetah.
So what do you think?
It's pretty cheesy.
It is, yeah. I like the Justice League too. I mean, what's not to like? It's John's, you know.
Here's my thing. Like, I remember 13, 14. I don't remember. I remember they have to fight Superman as Chester Cheetah, but I don't remember anything of the story. Like, it doesn't. I've read so much that for whatever reason 13 stuck with me. 14 didn't stick with me.
Okay.
So I don't know if that tells you anything about it.
Hold on, I want to make sure we're leading up to that.
Is that all you have left?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Whoa!
Okay, Deadpool.
It sure is.
Anybody read Deadpool out there still? That's my question.
So you
Who's
haven't read
still
three
reading
yet?
Deadpool? No, I haven't. In this one, he's still fighting the presidents. And Franklin Roosevelt comes to him and explains to him how he can fight the presidents, right? You know what happens?
No, Ben Franklin.
I said Delaware
said-
Roosevelt.
You said
No,
Franklin Roosevelt.
FDR is in it, and then Ben
FDR
Franklin,
is in it, but Ben Franklin, who was not a president,
Right,
is back as a ghost
right.
to help Deadpool fight the reanimated corpses, the zombie president.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And then like George Washington, and who's the other arch nemesis? Like Washington and somebody else. Oh, Ronald Reagan. See, I'm telling you, this is.
That sounds ridiculous.
I know.
I mean, not that
I spoke my piece about issue 1, and he made me change my mind about issue 1. And then issue 2 comes out,
and you just
And it's more
confirmed
ridiculous.
everything you
Yes.
just said.
and it's not even that funny.
It's not ha-ha funny. It's not bathtub, or pools full of pancakes like the
That's
other
what
one.
it should be.
It's not slapstick.
As I wear my Deadpool shirt, my Deadpool cane, you know, I mean, I'm proud.
The old one was slapstick, and this one is more ironic.
I'm not giving up, but I'm not
I
sold.
enjoy it. I
I'm
enjoy
not
it.
sold.
Well, you haven't
I'm
read
not
issue
sold.
3,
Okay.
where he fights Nixon and Checkers. Checkers.
All right. Batman, Death of the Family. What do you think of this whole Death of the Family crossover? Because I've only read, like, this one.
Okay, listen.
Which is a really
Go
good
back
cover.
to,
Really
like,
good
Comiholics 22, maybe it was, 23, where we talked about Night of the Owls. We talked about the fact that, at its core, there was a really good story. Unfortunately, it had to cross over into Batgirl and Red Hood and the Outlaws and Birds of Prey and Nightwing, and it went to all these different places where it completely got watered down and lost and confusing, and none of it really added up and made a whole lot of sense as a whole. Take that entire conversation and just every time we say Night of the Owls, just go, Death of the Family. And that's exactly what this crossover is. At its core, there's some really good stuff with Joker being super creepy.
Bat crazy. Beep crazy.
He had his face cut off in the first episode of Detective.
Which I want to see what's underneath it.
He, like, stapled part of it back on and then put, like, straps around it.
Yeah, he's got, like, straps, like, through the mouth part, and then he's got it tied around his ears, like a hospital mask kind of thing.
You can actually show that cover.
I do.
You can see
add it up in your part of it there.
And, like, somehow he's in Batgirl, holding Batgirl hostage, and he's saying it's going to be like the wedding of the universe or whatever. It's the two of them are going to get married because they've had this connection ever since he shot her and put her in the wheelchair or whatever. And at the exact same time, he's also got Batman tied up, and he's with Batman. It's like,
oh, what did you think though of,
like, all these issues are coming out at the same time, and
what
there's
about
no
Batman
clear, like,
13
this one must be
where
first.
Red Hood appears? Like, Batman goes to, like, confront the Joker in, like, the original scene where he turns him into the Joker. Where he
and it's Harley Quinn wearing the helmet? What about it?
I thought that was kind of cool. And then there's a whole part where the Joker says to Harley Quinn that she needs to become like him, and basically tells her that he's going to cut her face off, like he had done. And he's like,
and he ends up not doing it, but he did it too terrifying.
I strongly disagree with that.
She's a hottie.
I'd be like Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I've never cared for Harley Quinn.
Didn't she originate in a cartoon?
Yes, in Batman the Animated Series. Yes.
Yeah, that's about as far as
I'm a little partial. My bride dressed up as Harley Quinn one year, and it was pretty sexy. I was the Joker. But, yeah, so you don't like the way this is going then? Or you do?
If it was
like, how about issue 14? So 13 was Death of the Family, and then 14 was continuation, like, leading up to more just Joker Batman.
Look, if they had just been what's going on in Detective and Batman, if that was the whole story,
right, okay,
it would be 5 stars.
Okay.
But if you read Batgirl and Red Hood and the Outlaws and all that other stuff,
Batgirl, Red Hood and the Outlaws. I'm saying
I just answered your question.
Okay, all right.
Now I'm continuing the discussion by saying if you go and read all those other books, then it becomes a 3-star story.
Okay. There you have it, folks.
I'm kind of disappointed that your rating system involves stars.
What would you prefer?
It would be a 5-pie system.
It's a 5 shots.
6 carrots.
Right. If you just take Batman and Detective, it's 4 Q-tips out of a boysenberry pie. But if, you add in all those other books, you add in Batgirl, you add in, Batman and Robin, you add in Nightwing, you add in Red Hood, then it becomes 3 kumquats out of a couch cushion.
Oh, I love couch cushions too.
There you go.
Alright.
I like that rating system much better.
Other than that, I read, trade paperback of Fantastic Four Volume 8. I have Volume 9. I'm not going to read it.
Why not? This series got really long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why it got canceled. Well, it started out so strong and so good. Yeah. And then, I don't know.
Actually, around Volume 5, I was getting disappointed. And I just kept continuing because I thought it'd get better. So, I probably won't even pick up Volume 9. I think I'm going to donate it to the library.
Hey, wait, I gave you that.
I'll donate back to the library.
Of course, I bought it on liquidation for like $1.50. Anyway.
So, I mean, other than that, I don't think, visually speaking, it was mostly all Invincible. So that's all I've got. Was that about 40 minutes?
No, actually, you weren't too bad that time.
Okay.
Just about 20.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. What you got, Dirt?
Yeah, I'm done.
You had to take that fancy tablet out of your fancy case first?
So I need to wipe it down. It's got one of those glass screens that gets all the fingerprints on it. As I turn the page. Well, Amazing Spider-Man, you haven't read, so I won't talk about that one. But needless to say,
talk about it. You can spoil it.
698 is the issue where it looks like Peter Parker dies. He's in Doc Ock's body. Doc Ock is in his body. It's like changing the whole setup, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like, at least they're doing something,
right?
You know, so it's like, this is interesting. You know, next issue comes 699, and he's not really dead. He redlined, and that's where the other issue ended, and this one opens up
I kind
with
of
him
figured he wasn't going to
saving him, and they bring him back, and so now he's in the hospital bed, and he's going through all of Doc Ock's memories while he's laying there, and he has memories of Doc Ock and Aunt May having sex.
What?
Which means that, like, it's his memory of him in Doc Ock's body having sex with Aunt May.
What?
And he's freaking out, and, like, all this stuff, and then he realizes that Doc Ock was able to do the mind switch because Doc Ock had made one of those Ock orbs with all the arms, and when he was fighting the hobgoblins, it attached to him, and it did whatever probe to link up their minds.
What issue, what frame?
So, he reaches out with the mind and grabs a hold of one of those orbs and finds a computer in an office building and sends out this message to all the villains with some pre-recorded message Doc Ock had made that basically says, I'm going to pay you $6 million if you guys break me out, take me to safety, and bring me Spider-Man. And so the Sinister Six remnants combine back together and come to break him out and take him to safety, and they are able to whisk him away, and then they go to track down Spider-Man. So it's just kind of like, and we're going right back to status quo.
Right.
You know, so it's like, hey, it's exciting, they're going to do something. No, it's over.
That's a shame.
Yeah. No, anyway. You know what I'm saying?
This kid, you can't kill Peter Parker. I mean, that was the only where the direction that was going to go, was just kill Peter Parker, and then Doc Ock becomes Peter Parker, and then...
Deathstroke, 15.
I stopped reading Deathstroke around 6.
Yeah, well, they gave Rob Liefeld the book for a while, and so it was terrible. And then they fired him because his work was terrible. And so now he has nothing to do with the books, and it's fantastic. It's Justin Jordan, and I don't know who that is the writer, and then Edgar Salazar is the artist. Which he's done stuff for DC before. But the stories are good again, the characters are interesting again, and the artwork is readable again. So overall, it's a winner. Okay. So happy for Deathstroke. So that's what's
the storyline? Like in a nutshell.
It just ended. It just kind of wrapped one thing up, and it just started a new one where there's an immortal, kind of like a Vandal Savage type guy, who is controlling like this area in, I don't remember if it's like Siberia or whatever, and someone hires Deathstroke to take him out. So Deathstroke goes to try to kill him, and finds out that the guy's an immortal. So it's like, how do you kill an immortal? So like he tries to snipe him and blows his brains out, and then the guy gets up, you know. So it's he's going to have to figure out a new way to kill somebody.
Well, speaking of immortals and getting up and being like tried to be killed and stuff. Just a side note, Huckster, I don't know if I texted you or not. Did you know that there's going to be a sequel to Caligula?
Oh yeah, I did know that.
Yeah,
like you told me that at work.
The Bob Guccione movie from the early 80s with all the explicit sex?
No, this is this has explicit sex, but
it's already out?
The first issue came out.
Yeah. First
issue's out.
I will have to see that.
Yeah. Just want to, side note, I want to make sure you got that message. What else you got? Are you still reading the Minutemen?
I'm reading all the...
Yeah?
All the...
What's your favorite series?
Night Owl, and then Rorschach, and then Minutemen, then Dr. Manhattan, and then Silk Spectre is probably the bottom.
Okay. Not a big Silk Spectre fan.
Not in this version.
Are you current on fan? I see Fanboys vs. Zombies there.
Yeah, the most recent issue has them meeting Robert Kirkman from Walking Dead. at the convention.
Is he a zombie?
No, he's the one who's like, guys, you obviously aren't prepared. I'm the one that's been studying this for 5 years.
Let me show you how
This is all you gotta do to defeat the zombies.
You need to get a kid. Get a kid.
And,
with the cowboy hat.
well, and then, like, as he's, like, leading them outside of the convention center to get them to safety, these, flyers drop from the sky that the U.S. government's gonna, like, nuke the town.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's, like, one of those escape, like, they gotta get out of town before...
Escape from San Francisco?
San Diego?
San Diego. It's in San Diego.
So they gotta get out before everything goes up in smoke. So, Captain America. Have you read the new Captain America?
I told you I'm not reading any Captain America.
The new series?
Is it good? Is that Remender?
No, yeah, writing it, but, John Romita Jr. doing the artwork.
You don't like it?
Captain America. He, like, randomly, like, gets pulled into, like, this portal and finds himself on Planet X in this far away, solar system on the other side of the universe. And, like, I don't remember if it's an issue 1 or an issue 2, but it, like, skips ahead, like, 2 years or something. So it's like, he's on this planet, he meets this little girl, he takes her to safety, and then it's like, 2 years later, and he's, like, haggard and got this beard, and he's been living on this planet, and it's like, what the? Captain America!
Right.
Captain America! On this alien planet. It's like a cast-off Green Lantern story from the 70s that they put modern-day Captain America in. It's mind-boggling, as you say.
Mind-boggling, yeah.
As you say. It's
mind-boggling experience. That's a shame because you've got a good team up there. You know? Romita, Remender.
You would think they'd be able to not screw it up, but you would be wrong. One other
I love
thing,
your candid appeal. I really do.
One other thing that's worth pointing out is that recently on Comixology they added Volume 1 of the Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters. I don't know if you
that's top of my list, definitely.
They collected the 4-issue series. Dynamite now decided to collect the 4-issue series together. Originally it came under some other random company.
Was it on sale?
It was on sale for like $1.99
for like a volume.
For like 120 pages.
Okay, I'd buy it for $1.
It was
sorry, just a little cautious. You know, I got
Adolescent. This is the series.
Limit.
This is the series that came out in like 2005, I think it was. I want to say. I don't know if it's got the original, but 2008 is when this series came out.
I've got pie charts and graphs. Every week I have to like map out what I'm gonna buy. You know, it's complicated. It's an inundated procedure. It takes forever.
And where on that list is Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters?
It's way up there on the charts.
Is it?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Because I had a feeling you might kind of shuck your responsibility to be reading the Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt.
No, I will.
So you make sure you get in your reading of the Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters during the allotted time for the Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters.
It's coming.
Reading. It's coming. All right. You got to have priorities.
Yes, it'll be posted.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for this segment.
Pretty short, but folks, we got a lot to cover. I mean,
pretty short, but sweet.
You know, Invincible. Oh, good grief! I mean, just
All
right,
like, Charlie Brown.
Just talking about like 10 issues of Invincible could take half an hour. So we've got that, and then we're gonna talk about Hexed. Are we gonna do Hexed?
Do you want to do Hexed first? You want to do it second? You want to do it later? You want to do it? How do you want to do that?
Let's do Hexed first, then let's do Invincible, and then let's do. What are we gonna do? Huckster, what are we gonna cover?
I'm still trying to recover from reading it.
And what's that?
Prison Pit 4.
Prison Pit Volume 4.
If I had confetti, it would like come down as soon as you said Prison Pit 4, but I don't have confetti, so.
And so that's just once again how you say it.
I know. Ultimate Disappointment. Ultimate Disappointment Volume 8.
I'm just gonna remain off camera so the horror on my face isn't.
That's right.
Spread.
He has that huge zit on the side of his face. It's like a big.
It's got
eyes. Like a volcano.
It made it
Actually, that's what's talking right now is zit.
Yeah, right. Thanks. And I know how you really feel.
Well, at least it's the attractive part of your face.
We'll be back.
You go ahead, you die.
Hey, we're back.
No, please continue that sentence.
No.
Oh,
Not
no music.
Oh, see, I got my peaches and regalia in.
And
We're
we start
done.
over. You have to unlock the phone to adjust the volume.
No, I just wanted to play out. There you go. Okay. We're back, folks. And, you're still here. Congratulations.
Too bad you are. Dude, this honey liquor stuff is...
It's just, I would say it's dangerously sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, this doesn't taste like alcohol
It's like-
at all. Like a...
It's like if Pooh Bear were to make moonshine.
That's actually not probably too far from the truth.
Then punch you in the face after.
This is Winnie the Pooh's diarrhea. That's what this is.
Oh,
They just
no.
Woo!
I'm pretty sure that's not going to market that. That's not going to be their slogan.
Like the hot goo out of the back end of a bear. We bring you Baron Alright. So with an intro like that, which book are we talking about now?
Hexed.
Comic book nerd.
Hexed.
Jerk.
That's what they call me.
So why did you pick this book? 'Cause this is all you. This is 100% your chosen.
Well, I just happened to be walking some of the tables at C2E2,
Uh-huh.
and I ran into Michael Allen Nelson.
The guy who wrote 28 Days Later?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got to talking, and he was kind enough
Did you make
to...
out?
I might have after reading 28 Days Later. I told him I hadn't read Hex yet. He was talking about Hex, and he said I really should pick it up and check it out.
Hey man, buy my book.
No, he gave it to
Hey
me.
man, buy my book.
He signed it and gave it to me.
You should read my book.
Generous man. He didn't have to do that. And I was just kind of in passing, too.
I can't get home.
I didn't even,
without
make the
making a
connection
point.
until after I left the table with the 28 Days Later, which I still am a massive fan of. In fact, I've thought about, reading the entire series over again.
Why? Wait.
Is there
Why
any way to
would-
politely ask him to transfer his signature to a 28 Days Later poster?
Ooh.
Hey, can you
He was-
unsign this book and put it on a book?
No, he was a pretty easygoing guy. I mean, I'm sure if I would have came the next day with a poster, he would have signed it. But, so he told me a little bit about the book.
Hey man, remember me? You gave me a book for free yesterday. Can you give me one of those books for free?
I'll give this
I would
book
have paid
back
him.
to you.
I would have easily paid
And
him.
if
Can you make it out to eBay?
I am not like that, Mike.
No, I know.
I mean, I may wear a press pass, but I'm happy to donate. I mean, it's, this industry, thrives on us, the viewers, the Comiholics out there that, buy
Wow.
the weeklies and...
The Baron Jaeger has made you sweet.
Yeah, well, there's a sweet side.
So you like Winnie's the Pooh? Winnie's... What? Hexed.
Hexed.
No, Hexed.
So, it is written by Michael Allen Nelson, and art is by Emma Rios.
Sure, why not?
And
Who wrestled briefly for the WWE, teamed up with Lita, because he was Mexican. Oh, that was S.A. Rios, my mistake.
yeah,
So,
far
alright.
stretch there, buddy.
Hey, Andre the Midget got that joke.
So, I asked you to read this.
Uh-huh.
What did you? I want to know what your opinion on this book is.
Oh, I was supposed to read it? I thought it had some interesting stuff to it. I thought it started out kind of weak.
It was almost like a zero. Like it almost like started like it could have been like a zero, and then like the next. Because how many issues is it supposed to be? 4. It's almost like the 1 could have been a 0.
It's like all the stuff that happened basically in like the 3rd issue. I thought was really interesting. The first issue, I'm like, oh, it took forever to.
It was hard to get the hook right away on the first issue.
Right. The second issue added some interesting stuff to it, but it still wasn't like I wasn't really sold into it. And the third one, when people start dying left and right, then it was like, okay, now this is getting kind of interesting.
Right.
And then, but when it gets to 4, it's like, okay, well, now we know why it's called Hexed when we get to issue 4.
Right.
But
why she's hexed.
But if they do like Hexed Volume 2, I don't know that they'd ever do this. You know what I mean? It's like
it could have ended for you there. Like that was like when she's soaking in the bathtub.
I don't know. Like, you know, when they talk about movies and they say, oh, someone wrote a script and now it needs a rewrite, like I kind of felt like this series needed a rewrite. Like it needed something to punch it up a little faster. They needed to explain the characters a little bit more. I don't know, because it's just people kind of pop in and they talk to each other, and you're just supposed to.
Well, how about I take it from a different spin? Could it have been?
No,
because I really liked the writing in this. Like, I thought the story was great. Like the whole setup was. It could have built up to something more, like you said. But do you think maybe the art didn't quite express some of the dialogue, and that perhaps maybe the art...
You thought the art was lacking?
A little bit?
It is stylized. I mean, the artwork, it has... there are 2 types of anime, and there's like the anime that most people think of, it's like Pokemon and whatever, where everything's kind of like over, hyper-stylized. Then there's like a different form of anime where things are much more like gothic inspired, and it kind of has that feel to it to me in many ways, where the figures are very elongated, and I can see that being an influence on it. But yeah, overall, the artwork just, I don't know, it was hard. Stupid Winnie the Pooh diarrhea.
It was consistency, I think, is where, like, some...
He was a very consistent art style, and at first I was intrigued by it, because I was like, this is different, and I got the impression that the artist was definitely, like, from a different, like, it was not a non-American culture.
Right.
And I wasn't thinking Japanese when I first, like a manga or anime style. But it just seemed like there was a lot, like especially towards the middle of the book.
And I'm not saying it doesn't look like anime. I'm just saying there's like a reference,
stylized, large eyes, etc. But they had there was a few panels where like the emotion in the words of the comics, the story, wasn't portrayed by the artwork.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That's what I was
it was like really happy artwork, and it was like, wow, that person's...
Well, there's a scene where a guy's facial expression is this. Okay, that's his facial expression. And the words is, no! We must hope we can move beyond the reach of this witchcraft!
Yeah, there's a disconnect.
What I mean?
That's exactly it. That's a good way of saying it.
I just don't think that the link there was...
Now, having said that, there are, like I said, there's some very interesting stuff that happens. Like, there's a lot of...
I'm not going to be completely
kind of like Hellboy, Cthulhu, kind of like really out there. Like,
something behind the scenes.
Like she finds a corpse, she cuts open a corpse and climbs inside and somehow finds this like other universe.
And that was very graphic and kind of moving. Like, that got my buy-in. Right when that happened, that's when I was invested into it. That's when I was like, ooh.
It's different. Really it's different. I want to know what happened.
Right. And then I like the fact that she was working basically for a collector, like this like dealer of sorcery items, witchcraft collectibles
recovery
artifacts.
Yeah,
Or
but it was
like,
she was very specific. Like she was hiring her to like pinpoint and go get certain things.
It was like Friday the 13th the series, if you remember that old TV show where they have to get all the haunted antiques and bring them back to the antique store. It's a lot like that.
But the main character,
Hey, okay, here's my problem. The main character, her name is Lucifer.
Right.
Like, it's Lucy, so they call her Lucifer.
and she's cursed, she's hexed.
But they do this thing where it's like, in the beginning, she steals like this artifact that looks like a teddy bear thing, but there's like a giant demon stuck inside. And
Well,
so
no, she goes to like go get something out of. She goes to get an artifact, and out pops out this demon, and she like curses the beast into the little toy.
Sure. Okay. Well, whatever. Regardless.
Which I thought that was kind of clever. Like, she banished it into this little cuddly toy, and she could just like carry it around, and no big deal, no threat to her.
But then she gets there and she delivers the item, and this lady's having a conversation. The lady who's in charge is having a conversation about, this is my person I sent out. This is Lucifer. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you read that, and with the stylized art and everything, you're just kind of like, so is this the fallen angel? Like, is that what this story is supposed to be? Like, this angel fell to earth, and now it's got to go around and collect all this stuff to like atone for what? But then no, that has nothing to do with it. It's like they use the name in order to evoke a response, and it's a false response. It's like that they use the name as a joke, but you almost think there's like another layer to the story, which isn't there.
Right.
And so I think that also really kind of, like, I thought there was going to be more interesting stuff to it than that.
Like she really was going to use.
Yeah.
I kind of had that.
And I was like, oh, that's an interesting twist. Okay. And now she's got to do all this stuff to try to regain her spot or, whatever, to atone for her sins or, whatever the deal is. She comes to Earth and now Lucifer has to live as a chick. Like, okay, whatever.
What I did like, alright.
But that's not what it was, though.
What I really did like about the story, though, is like the first artifact that she's supposed to get is this artifact where you have it, and if you speak somebody's name, basically you can banish them from existence. Like, you make them like they never were. So it's a very powerful artifact. And her collector is trying to get it. In the meantime, this person that she had worked with, in some, I don't remember what country.
The creepy old lady?
No, the dude. The dude that's trying to hunt this guy.
Oh, the dude with the
bald head and the goatee.
Looks like an evil version of Huey Lewis.
Huey Lewis. It was Phil Collins.
Oh, my mistake.
Oh, man.
Oi!
And in fact, he's trying to get that artifact too, because he's trying to get, who's that? It's like this main, witch that Lucifer is paired with. Like, it's like her, she was basically turned by this witch, if I remember correctly. And, she's basically the only one who knows where this witch is, and he's trying to kill her, so he's using Lucifer to go get her, and he needs that artifact to kill her. It's kind of basically the main story. It's a really complex story, and I thought it was really intriguing. I just didn't think that... And there were some scenes where I thought the art was expressing what the writing was trying to get out, but
just not consistent.
Yeah.
I think also
there were some parts where I'm like, wow, that totally hits what I'm thinking.
One of the problems I also think with the story is that there are too many... They're locked somewhere, so it's like, oh, well, I know a spell. Where she cuts her thumb and she starts making these lines on the toilet seat in the jail cell so that this little fish demon thing will come up and transport her.
Because he owes her a favor.
Right, and it's like, that comes out of nowhere. There's no foreshadowing of it or anything. It's just kind of like randomly like, oh, here's a plot point that you just throw out there for no reason. And then, at one point, she refuses to help the bad guy find the book that's going to tell him where this thing is hidden, whatever. So he grabs this device and he speaks the name of her friend into it so that person dies. Well, and then she goes to eventually,
find her,
find the body or whatever, confirm it, and she's alive because several years ago she switched names with somebody else so that if someone were ever to make an incantation, they would say the other person's name, and so this
You didn't find that was clever? I thought that was kind of clever.
It's clever, but it's just too contrived.
Yeah, it's too easy.
That's a really harsh word. I don't mean it was bad. It wasn't contrived. It was creative.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. There's no. it's just like there's no way out of this situation except for this like false excuse that we have that has absolutely no basis for being there, except we need a way to get out of this situation. Which I didn't like a lot of that stuff.
Well, let me ask you, because I haven't read the next volume, but towards the end...
I don't know that there is a volume 2.
Okay.
I'm just saying if there is a volume 2, I don't know that I would read it.
Towards the end, I think there might be a connection with this whole Lucifer name. I could be wrong, but
No, it's because she's cursed. That's why she's hexed. That's why she's hexed. She has to take over what that creepy old lady in the library was doing, is that eventually she'll be that creepy old lady.
Right, she has to inherit that.
Right. So she's not the devil, it's just that she knows that at some point eventually she's going to be stuck in this millennium.
She's going to inherit the earth, so to speak.
She's going to inherit the dirt ball of the underside of magic.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel kind of bad because I liked the dude's work on 28 Days Later. I thought his work on 28 Days Later was fantastic. This book just really didn't do anything for me.
I thought there were moments when it really was going to catch me, and then it didn't.
It felt like the movie Jumper. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
It's like there are times in that...
Christensen?
Yes. There's like 5 minutes of that movie where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, that's interesting, okay, and then the rest is just like, whatever.
But this kind of goes back and forth with me. It's like there were parts where I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh. That's how it is?
No, that's just your bowel performance.
No. Ooh. I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of really good qualities. Maybe, I think I would go ahead out of curiosity, read the next volume to see if maybe the storyline coincides with the art in a way that makes more sense. Yeah. I don't know. So, I appreciated the time to actually talk to him, and I think I might have referenced 28 Days Later when I was talking to him. It was kind of like in passing with a lot of people, and I was just happy he signed it.
You know what book I like is that 28 Days Later. Which one of these homos wrote that? Yeah, what's going on?
Why's it always going to be about homos?
Well, that's what you said.
What?
You're the one.
What?
This guy. Alright. So overall, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Kind of in the middle. Like, I'm not saying it's necessarily a thumbs down. I just...
Do people need to read it? Do people need to pay $14.95 to read that story?
If somebody handed it to you for free and signed for you, would you read it?
Yes.
Would you pay $14 for it?
No. Sorry. Yeah.
If it's on sale on Comixology at 99 cents an issue, would you pay the $4?
Yeah.
So it's worth $4 if it's on a 99-cent set.
Yes.
It's fine.
But look for. I think it actually has been on there.
Actually, to be honest, though, I'm glad somebody's doing something different. It was very different.
Yeah, it was different.
And if you're looking for something that's just not mainstream, it was definitely.
Like I said, I really like the story. It's enough that it holds weight to me that I would probably pick up the next volume just to see where it's going. So. All right then.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and then when we come back, we're going to take a look at 98 issues of Invincible. Actually, 99, because there's like the 0 issue that is actually like 70 and a half.
Did you guys read the spin-offs too?
No.
There was like a 2 issue.
Well, there's Guardians of the Globe. There's
I didn't read that. No, I didn't read those.
Adam,
Eve, and
That's
Rex
the one I read. I read
those.
I bought them.
Did you? Oh, okay.
I have not read.
You didn't need to read them, but they were.
But there are some.
I liked it that much. I went looking.
There are some things that confuse me though, because it obviously did crossovers into other stuff, and I didn't read any of the other stuff. So we'll talk about.
Yeah, that's issue 60.
Well, no, there's a couple of those. There's more than one.
Well, issue 60 is a big one.
Is that the Astounding one?
That's with like Spawn and yeah.
No, that's the one where it's the whole crossover in one book. You don't have to. There are a couple others where other stuff.
Oh, you mean like branched out crossovers?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Anyways, yeah. So there you go. Invincible's next.
We'll be right back after.
Stay tuned.
I don't know if I'm going to drink anymore, man.
No. We've got most of a bottle left.
Yeah, well, we got 2 like boats of bottles.
Are you going to insult the Baron-Jaeger? We almost polished off with Maker's 46.
I don't think we can finish that. No.
I'm not shooting you like I did.
If I gotten like
if we finish the Baron-Jaeger, we're gonna have to do the
night.
rest of the show in Braille. for the blind, because nobody's been able to watch this show if you drink.
I can't manage. I am doing the rest of the show in pepperoni.
Yahtzee!
What now?
What are you talking about?
Invincible!
Invincible! That's right. Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just got
made
two
it.
messages.
You made it.
I have 105 unread emails.
Probably all criticisms about the show.
No, it's a bunch of... Someone's following you on Facebook. Someone's following you on
Twitter. Turn your social media off right now.
Ooh! Babies R Us coupon. Save big on baby care, feeding, clothing, and
We're
more.
going to talk about Invincible, okay? Invincible started... When did the conversation begin, Invincible? We were talking about that earlier. It was probably way back.
I never heard about it until Comiholics, actually, to be fair.
I don't know what Comiholics issue, but it was very early on.
Issue?
Episode. Very early on we were talking about Invincible. Actually, Dirt turned us onto it.
Well, they had a sale on the first, 5 graphic novels or whatever, so it's like, hey, let's read this.
Kirkman is a writer. We all know who Kirkman is, right? Robert Kirkman. Walking Dead.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it, huh?
Walking
no
Dead?
clue. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I'm going to throw it out there right now. I like Invincible better than Walking Dead.
Wow.
And I'm current with both.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, what's the...
Are we going to go right into it? We're going to dive right in. We're diving right in. I don't know. I think the characters. I do like the characters in Invincible.
There's a lot more characters in Invincible versus Walking Dead.
It might be also that some of the style for the comic book is like super nostalgic. This is nostalgic for me. I think I mentioned it though in the last time we did a Comiholics on Invincible. That it was like kind of nostalgic, like.
The first time we talked about Comiholics Volume 1 was December 1st, 2011. Invincible Volume 1. Was it Comiholics 26? No, okay. Comiholics 16.
I was going to say.
Comiholics 16 in December of 2011. And then February, we did Volume 2 in episode 18.
Okay. Good job. Good show, sir. Good show.
Research.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe the stories are just.
So that's the first 8 issues. Volume 1, Volume 2.
Well, to break it down, I really think that
there are a lot of similarities.
There are some similarities. Yeah. What I like best, I'm just going to jump right because we are just jumping right into it. What I like best about Invincible is it's so well interwoven. Especially the villains. The villains come and go. But the way they come back, the way they,
he throws in a lot of there's a page here with this guy, and you see what he's doing.
It's usually towards the end,
and just to catch up. It's to catch up with what they're doing. Well, and a lot of times it's in between 2 different scenes. It's there's something's going on with Invincible at school, and there's something going on with his mom at home. But then in between there's a page of the guy going into the alternate dimension and grabbing the alternate version of himself and bringing it back. And it's just kind of thrown in there.
You have to pay attention because some issues can have literally 4 stories going on at the same time.
There's a lot of jumping around following all the characters, but it always builds to something, it always leads to something.
It's cohesive, the story is cohesive.
Yes.
You can easily follow it.
And I
which is the same as...
And I like my Adhesives Co. So that's how it's really good.
And the flow is consistent, And maybe that's the beauty of having the same writer carry over a story for so long, is you do get that consistency.
I got the impression that he knows where he's going.
Yeah, there's definitely a direction. And
which is weird because it's not predictable at all. It's not predictable.
Right. No, it's not. No, he'll leave you thinking, and he's very good at aversion. He'll He'll send you one direction, and you'll think it's going that one direction, and it goes the other. So I mean, in generalities, that's kind of Invincible.
The characters are complex without being ludicrous.
Like you buy in. You know what I was thinking about that today because I read probably 20 issues today. Seriously, like back to back, and that is the luxury of like picking up trade paperbacks. Is everybody's been talking about Invincible for so long. Everybody's like, you got to read Invincible. Some of my
some of my best friends,
my 3 friends, that read comic books, they're like, you got to read Invincible. You got to catch up. So I finally did, and I said, okay, I'm going to commit. We're going to do it on Comiholics. I'm going to read all the way up to issue 98. 99 just came out, you said?
No, 98 just came out.
Okay, so 99 hasn't come out yet. So I'm current now. And it's nice to be able to just carry over issue to issue to issue. With those, I bought most of the volumes on Comixology, so. But it does have great cliffhangers. Like, every issue, you're like, what's going to happen next?
I know, and it takes so long for them to come out now. Now that I'm not
it's a
4
monthly.
years
Is it
behind.
monthly?
It's a monthly.
Yeah, now that I'm not 4 years behind, I actually have to wait month to month.
When did it start again? When did Invincible? What
2005,
year?
2006.
I think it was 2005.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. That stupid research I did.
Which is weird, because you know how we said the story is like...
2003.
You can follow the story real easy? They do have a lot of side plots.
And I didn't really, I knew that they existed because they're at the end of, the issues.
Like the most recent one.
You got Guardians of the Globe. You've got, Rexplode. Adam Eve. What's the other one? There's a couple out there. Yeah. Come on, man. Tell me.
No, you got it.
Okay.
You got it.
I'm missing probably missing a couple there, yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about Invincible. We have covered the first 2 volumes of the trades, whatever, before, so just basically, in a nutshell, Invincible's a teenage boy, his dad's a superhero, his powers finally emerge, so he's gonna run around with his dad now and save the world and whatever, and his dad is basically Superman. And then his dad kills the main group of superhero good guys, Guardians of the Globe, and nobody knows. And then that's basically the first 8 issues, in a nutshell. Very briefly.
And then continued on from there, Nolan, which is Nolan Grayson, Mark Grayson's dad, basically banishes himself from Earth. Isn't that basically how it happens?
Well, no. There's some stuff that happens before that. Like, nobody knows it's him. Right. Nobody knows that Omni-Man, the
Omni-Man is the one that killed
guys,
the rest of the Guardians of the Globe.
Until someone digs up the body of one of the Guardians and brings it back to life.
Right.
The guy is an immortal.
Immortal.
And so he dies, and he lays there for a while, and then after a while he eventually wakes up.
Yeah. And he shouts out Omni-Man.
So he goes and tracks him down, and Omni-Man tries to kill the Immortal. I think is his name Immortal?
The Immortal.
The Immortal.
I think it's Lincoln.
And kills him again, but this time, Invincible sees his dad dead. So his dad has to explain, I'm an alien, I'm from outer space, everybody knows that. What I didn't tell people, is the truth, is that I come from a race of warriors that are taking over the galaxy, and I've been sent to Earth just to get Earth ready for the takeover. I've got 500 years to basically kill off any resistance, so that when they come in, they can just walk all over the planet and take it, and that's it, in the story. So Invincible starts fighting his dad, and in the course of this battle, the dad realizes that he actually does love his son. He actually cares for his son. He doesn't want to destroy the planet, and that's when he takes off.
Interwoven through this very brief description is like superhero everyday life.
Right.
Like flipping burgers for a job as a teenager.
Right, it starts, and we talked about that early on.
Which I actually that was what resonated with me.
Yeah. Well, Mark Grayson is basically this character who's like a kid that doesn't get his superpowers until he's a teenager. And then he starts to understand what Nolan, his dad, is all about. But we're a little bit past that at this point. We'll kind of skip ahead a little bit here at this point, Mark has discovered that Nolan's, intentions were, originally to, colonize and destroy Earth.
There's a whole other
After his dad goes, he's contacted by the government, and he finds out that his dad was actually working with the United States government with a secret branch as part of Homeland Defense.
It's like
Pentagon.
this sub-basement of the Pentagon, basically.
And
run by Cecil.
And this guy basically offers him his dad's job, saying, your dad was the one that we always contacted. Now we want to have you be the guy that we contact. And so Invincible's like, okay, sure. And suddenly he finds that his whole life changes. They suddenly have all the money in the world they need. Anytime they have a problem, it'll be taken care of.
But he's on call at all times.
But he's also on call.
For Cecil. Anytime he's got like a crisis.
So then you have all these real world problems where he's trying to date this girl, but doesn't want to give away his secret identity. So of course they're going to have a date, and he arrives and immediately gets the call, and he's got to go. And so she starts, thinking
well, and it's cool because
and
what I like about what Kirkman did is he did the transition well. Like, it starts out teenager in high school, and then you've got college kid, and then that like transforms
to his first job.
Yeah, his first job where Adam Eve like has that business going for him, where like he's basically security for like power plants and things
doing
like
basically
that.
what he already is doing.
Right, but just getting paid.
But getting paid a little bit stipend or whatever.
He has this girlfriend in college. They split up, and then he starts dating the girl he really loves, who's Adam Eve. I'm trying to remember. I was trying to remember that today when I was reading that. Do you remember the backstory of Adam Eve? Like, wasn't she like?
She and Rex Flode were.
No, but like where she came from. There was like this weird origin about her, and I think that's going to come up again.
No, they just have a story of her youth.
Because
like she had her ability to manipulate matter from a very early age.
Right. Okay.
And unlike Mark, whose parents like understand what it means to be a hero and whatever, her parents absolutely hate it.
Right.
Yeah.
The fact that she has anything to do with people with superpowers, they just absolutely.
They're very complex characters, and they're interesting. It's not contrived.
Okay, so let's get some things straight here. So basically, what's attacking Earth? That's kind of like to like break it down to like explain it to people.
Well,
there's several things attacking Earth right now.
Extra-dimensional aliens?
What were they called again? The little green guys.
I forget.
The antennas. They keep coming back. They keep going into
every 10 or 15 episodes they attack again.
And that's kind of the ongoing story leading up to where they're at now. I had all these.
What? The green
aliens
guys?
Yeah, the green aliens that keep coming back.
Because first Nolan takes them out. He disappears for like.
And then
3 years.
And then Mark
he's only gone
takes
for a
them
month.
out.
Yeah. Then.
I'll find it.
Robot Man and Monster Girl go take. Well,
but
they
see,
disappear for
what
a
this
long
is
time.
all. Oh man, see, all right. I hope people that are listening to this or have read this stuff because all right. Also, the same aliens are the same ones that Rex, the girl, Rex's counterpart.
Robot Man?
No, Robot Man's girlfriend, Amanda, is her
Monster
name?
Girl.
Monster Girl, isn't it Amanda, or?
I don't remember her name.
You're talking that invasion storyline.
Yes.
Okay, well, say whatever you're going to say, and we'll come back.
So, she, when she becomes a monster, she's like a man, monster man. Oh man, there's so much going on here. So, like, God.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a girl, and every time she uses her powers, she turns into a giant monster. When she turns back into a girl, she's always a little bit younger because her cells do not rebuild themselves correctly. So every time she rebuilds, she gets younger.
It's trying how to break this down.
There's
so much going on.
There's a lot going on.
You don't need to really tell about that subplot.
Because there's the Martians, too.
Yeah.
Well, the first big crisis that he faces is the Martians. He has to travel with the space shuttle to Mars on this mission that they do. And when they get there, they find out that Martian society is enslaving these little octopus monster creatures because if they come in contact with a humanoid, then they have this collective intelligence and they become unstoppable. And so they're going to kill the human astronauts before they have a chance to bond.
Right.
So Invincible has to save them and break them out. And what he doesn't realize is that the Martians are shapeshifters, and one of the Martians acts like a human and hitches a ride back, and the human gets left there so that the monsters overtake them. And eventually what happens is they overtake the Martians on Mars and totally destroy that society and then come to Earth in order to try to take over Earth. And that's one of the big crises that he has to take care of. There's also, what's the guy's name? Angstrom Levy?
Yeah.
Who has the ability to jump into a parallel universe and jump back. And what he does is he collects himself from all of these universes and tries to find a way to get all of their intelligence. And
he's mad at Mark because Mark early on was like trying to save somebody and somehow
he wasn't perfect and somebody got hurt and it turned out to be this.
And it killed like his sister and then Angstrom's sister.
Okay, but you don't have to point out all the plot. Basically, we're on Angstrom Levy.
Okay.
While this experiment's going on where he's trying to get all this intelligence, Invincible breaks through and causes the machine to malfunction, and he becomes scarred and hideous, and so therefore he blames Invincible for ruining his life. And so he's one of those characters that is constantly coming back and constantly trying again and again and again to destroy Invincible. All right, then there's the other guy whose sister was killed in one of these battles that happened around the world, and he's got this ability to absorb energy and then attack back with it. And so you see him again and again and again attacking Mark. And it becomes to the point where Mark is thinking about the world around him, and he's like, these people exist because of what I do. If I hadn't been trying to be a superhero, if I hadn't been out there, getting in these massive battles, these people wouldn't have died. These people wouldn't have become, these horrible things that they've become. And so it makes him question whether or not it's worth it to be a superhero. And that's kind of one of the big storylines.
It comes up every 10 episodes or so, or every 10 issues or so.
He even, at one point, Mark gets pulled into deep space, and he travels to this planet in outer space, and he finds his dad there. And his dad has resettled on a new planet. And he's supposed to, he's been given a second chance to recolonize a different planet on behalf of, the alien race, the Vitrolmites, whatever they're called. But again, he falls in love, and he ends up having a child. And he doesn't want to destroy the planet anymore. And when the other Vitrolmites, the people of his race, come to attack, he has Mark escape with the son, the baby.
Right.
And because the baby is this alien race, it's aging much more quickly. And so in the course of this series, over 20, 30 issues, he becomes from a baby into like his teenage sidekick. And he has powers. And again, he comes from a different background, a different society. He has a different moral ethic. And so when he sees a bad guy, he just wants to kill the bad guy, and then the threat is neutralized. And of course, Invincible, Mark doesn't want to do that. So again, you get into these deep kind of philosophical questions of how far is too far? Isn't it a greater good to destroy these people before they can go and do anything horrible again?
Right.
So these, in the midst of all this funny stuff with the dating and, Adam Eve shoots all her power and falls to the ground and now she's naked. And everybody comes rushing in to try to help, and all of a sudden they're all like, oh. Because she's laying naked on the ground. In the midst of like all this funny stuff that's happening, there are deep, complex issues that he's actually trying to deal with, like people have to deal with in real life.
It's like every vignette is so well written, it draws you in, so you want to talk about every single story arc that's Invincible.
That's the hard part about
and
reviewing
you can't,
this.
there's like,
there's a lot of
they're all interwoven.
Yeah, they're all interwoven.
And
interesting enough that you can actually care about each individual story arc.
Here's some of the stuff that, I'm confused with. Like in issue, I think it was issue 50, is when there's like the big invasion of aliens from outer space or whatever.
Yeah, that's
and it's
like one of the invasions we're talking about.
But it's one of those things where it's like the issue opens and everyone's in the middle of this massive fight. So I'm guessing there were more chapters to this, like in Savage Dragon or Spawn or something, because suddenly all these characters, like half the world has been destroyed, and they're all fighting, and it's just like you go from 49 to 50 or whatever it was. It's just like in the issue before, everything's normal, and then the next issue starts, and it's like mid-war.
No, I don't remember that. I remember it being a little more cohesive than that. Like, I knew that there was a couple times where I was like, well, maybe they did something in another comic that I didn't read about, but it was very seldom that I felt that way.
Saying? Okay.
Well, I'm just guessing, or 60. Maybe it was 60?
Because you guys read them pretty fast. I just remember the story being a little more cohesive than what you're describing.
That's
the
War.
Invincible War. Okay,
that's when we have like
that's
Spawn
that's
and
not
like
it.
all these other like characters showing up from Image.
Right, but that's not that one. It's a different one.
Yeah.
Which makes for a good rap. So, and actually that's the issue where he kills Armstrong Libby.
Well, you think he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he gets like pulled and sucked in through a dimensional portal and gets rebuilt by those like crazy alien guys, and then like he ends up being an indentured servant to them. And
it seems very.
That's the thing I really like about this is not only is Kirkman like staying true to like he's got all these subplots. There's so many subplots.
It's had a little while to work on
but
it.
he doesn't let them go.
Yeah.
Like
it is very
even
cool.
as it goes through, all the different issues, like from issue 60 here to 98, it carries over and it still makes sense. It has weight.
And what's crazy to me is that even though he's reintroducing each of these plots over and over, he has conclusions. It's like the stories do conclude.
Yeah.
They conclude after every 3 or 4 comics.
It's not nonsensical. Yeah. It continues.
I know. I definitely feel like I'm part of that world. So like reading it, I mean, like I know what's going on and I can feel like I can respond to what's the references in future episodes. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that was back in 45, something was going on. I don't know. I just feel like it is a cohesive story. It doesn't feel like.
So of the villains that we just spoke of, what do you think is the biggest threat at this point? Do you think it's still the Voltrumites? Or do you think they're still?
Yeah, that one guy. There's a Nolan's supreme leader is pretty.
What's his name again?
I think with the big, there's something bigger coming with Cecil.
Cecil? You think like Cecil has something like even more up his sleeve?
Yeah, I think there's something because he always seems to be one of those guys that
always has a trick.
He always has a backup plan for his backup plan. Cecil is the guy who heads the government security agency that employed Invincible for a while, but Invincible turned on him because he realized that some of these villains, these criminals, Cecil goes, well, I could use them to do research. And so he would grab him to do research, and so now instead of them going to prison, they're getting one of these cushy jobs working for the government, and so he just rebels. He says, no, I'm not going to be a part of that anymore, and so he leaves.
Is Cecil still really bound in the Earth, like the Earth, the machinations of the Earth? Whereas the Viltrumites seem to be more galaxy-spanning. And that seems to be more dangerous to me because they're just so powerful. Like, one of them can wipe out a planet.
Right.
And so, like, as far as Cecil goes...
But then the secret comes out that there's only about 50 of them
50 of them left, yeah, that comes out, yeah.
Because basically the Voltrumites, where Nolan's from, he's a pure Voltrumite, the Voltrumites have determined that Earth is the best genetic match for them to breed.
So they're going to allow it to exist.
Right. And, they at some point they realize they want to rape our resources, but at the same time,
the genetic resources end up being more valuable to them. I think that's brewing into some huge episode.
Well, I think that, and, God, what's his name? It starts with a T, like the main leader, like he's like the oldest Voltrumite. Thaddeus or something like that. There's something really...
He's never been defeated.
Yeah.
By Nolan or
he's outsmarted everybody.
Or anybody. He's never been defeated. He's been pushed back.
I don't think he's even gotten a bruise.
Well, he's been bloodied, I think.
Maybe.
But he's defeated everybody up against him. Until he's finally but he's still doing his own thing. I just feel like that's...
And what do you think about this rising sequid invasion, too?
Here, you sit over here. You take this seat.
I've read that.
No, come over here and take this seat.
I don't know if I don't want to be on video camera because I know you're talking about Prison Pit next. We're talking about Prison Pit next.
You guys are having this back
the
and forth
Hucksters
conversation.
on video.
I've
never been on video before.
What do you think about the sequel invasion? They've come back. The astronaut he's still possessed. He's still.
I feel like the Secret Invasion, like in a lot of these other like story plots, advance the main characters. And so, like, I remember the overarching story and like the growth of the characters.
Right.
But they that was like, what issue was that? Like 20, 30 or something like that.
Well, that's
so
the thing.
long ago.
It's like that's my point. Is it still carries over? It still holds weight.
The characters developed through that, and they haven't gone back.
I think
they haven't ignored it.
As a reader, like I don't lose interest in any. And I think that's the beauty of Invincible. Is there's very few characters that I haven't lost interest in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Dinosaurus.
Dinosaurus, I kind of like him. When he first showed up on
issue 98, Dinosaurus is back.
It's a giant dinosaur that's super intelligent.
Right, but it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
But the Dr. Jekyll in this case is like this really stupid, like long-haired surfer dude.
Yeah.
Is like a complete.
He's
idiot.
kind of he's not going to advance society by any means.
No, he's an idiot. He's a total idiot. In fact, and he has no recollection of what has happened when he is Dinosaurus. So it's just.
But then Dinosaurus ends up being like this super like architect, like ecologist, and he's like incredibly smart and like knows like all his evil thoughts end up advancing the.
Well, that's the
Earth.
thing. Like Dinosaurus, he's kind of like got that Spock mentality where like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
The big picture.
Right.
He's definitely big picture.
So I mean, he ends up like the first time Dinosaurus and Mark Grayson meet each other is in Las Vegas, and he goes to try to stop Dinosaurus. And
then Dinosaurus
already has like this master plan where like he's got this super explosive that like basically turns
the whole area to glass.
Because he knows that by like cutting down that resource
will
free up the Colorado River, which will free up blah blah blah.
Right, and then there's gonna be solar power everywhere. Yeah. And it's gonna power like the Earth.
So his means, aren't so great, but his end is, it's inspirational. Like, he's trying to save the Earth, but he's doing it in a way that he doesn't mind killing millions of people to do it.
I feel like Invincible does a couple different things really well. It takes really fun, like, dinosaur men and, like, wolf dogs and, like, investigator dogs, like, really cheesy, like, what could be really cheesy characters, and makes them very interesting.
You mean Science Dog? Or
like Science Dog, like some, like...
The comic book character
really
that
novel,
Mark Grayson's really into.
Like old school 20s characters, like suddenly become very interesting, like Dinosaurus and Science Dog, etc. Then two, on top of all this, you've got the kid going through he's growing. You grow up with him over the whole course of the year, so you've got the growth of this character, and then of course all the the serious threats that they actually deal with, and it's very bloody, it's very violent.
Right.
Like,
very violent.
So there's all these different, like, overarching, like, themes that just get rolled into one, and it's not,
I gotta face,
I like it. That's why I'm standing
It's a challenge to sit here and try to talk about basically issue 50 to issue 98. There's a lot going on.
7 years of comics.
Did you read the, Astounding Wolfman Part 2, that crossover?
I did not read, that was the one crossover I didn't read. I read all the other ones. Because I was fiending badly around issue 60. I couldn't wait.
So how much did those stretch? Like, were those like 6 issue like miniseries basically for each of those, or they continue? Is it ongoing? Are those titles ongoing?
The side ones were only like 2 or 3 issues each.
Well, Guardians of the Globe was I think 6 issues or 5 issues.
So they're done.
Although I think they just started up a second volume of Guardians of the Globe.
That's like the only one that like. Like at the end of the issue, they would like show like the first 3 pages. Guardians of the Globe was like the only.
They did the Kate short stories and a bunch of them.
Guardians of the Globe was the only one I was like, I think I'll check that one out. I mean, I didn't care about like Rex Explode. He's dead.
No, I like the subplot with Monster Girl and Robot Man. I thought that was really solid writing. Like the stories.
What did you think? Okay. So Monster Girl and Robot Man.
This is the most recent arc.
Right, and so they're like you find out the backstory of them where they have like they're in another dimension, not another dimension, or another planet.
Another dimension, yeah. Another time stream where
it's the same aliens that we were talking about that keep coming back to Earth to try to invade Earth.
Over the previous 60
Because they're a warrior society, and they have to have slaves to do everything else. So they go to Earth to, like, basically take the humans to, like, work in their mines. So they go to stop them. And then the time space is different.
Yeah,
like,
so for
that's why they die
every
so
hour
quickly.
there is like a year in this other dimension, and so they don't ever. It's just such a good job because they pop back in and nothing happens, and you don't really understand what they did except they stopped this threat. But then a couple episodes or issues later, they actually explain what happened over those hundreds of years that they were in this other dimension or whatever, how long they were there. It seemed like a really long time.
Yeah.
And they finally come back, and you're like, wow, that was even that story. It's such a side plot, and even that story was so well written.
That could have been its own title.
Oh, yeah, easily.
You know, I think that's what the great part of this. I mean, I'm gushing over Invincible here, but...
the writing is superior.
There's several different titles that could have carried out of this story.
Is it better than ASM?
No. Sorry.
Well, when
ASM is still...
You guys started up your Comiholics, and it was like 16 that you started with Invincible, and that may have been the first one of the first. Cause I started when you first. I watched them when you first started, but it was around 16 that I actually was in the audience, and I read that, and I liked it so much that I've been hooked on it ever since. And as far as my getting back into comics, that's been number one on my list. And Walking Dead's right there. That one, and
I've only been collecting up to digital comics. I've sold 98, and I was talking to Dirt. I'm like, put that on my pull list. I want to make sure I have issue 100 in paper in my hands. Like, I want that issue.
I've spent more money.
I want to collect it from now on in paper. Now that I'm caught up. It was the same thing with Walking Dead. I think I was up to like issue 64, digitally speaking, and then I started buying the paper. You know, so
I was telling Dirt in the Apocalypse earlier that in my adult life, I've spent more money on Invincible than any other comic.
Well, there you go, folks. Good endorsement.
I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna end on that note. Dirt, get back in here. You're prettier than me. You're prettier than me.
But see, that chair is much more comfortable.
And I'm gonna take this with
Grab
me.
a pillow.
I'm taking the
Baron. What are you complaining about? No,
because then you just complain.
No.
Smells like
that's right. He's got a shirt that says no.
This is a much more comfortable chair.
No. Oh, I thought you didn't like the Baron Jaeger.
I know, but I needed something. I just got excited.
He has to calm his nerves.
I need to calm down my nerves. I'm about ready to go look for some Comic Street.
Your tower of beer cans.
My tower of power.
Falling over in your frat house.
No, this is
You're right, I don't like this.
You don't like it?
I'm going to drink some more, though.
Okay.
I'm going to have to chase it with something, though.
Invincible is just one of those stories that, quite honestly, you probably take 2 shows to cover exactly what
there's really too much.
And the problem is, there's no real way you could adapt it in any. You couldn't an animated TV show unedited on like HBO or something like that.
It'd be an epic adventure. It would be epic.
But even one arc would be too much for a season.
You could never do it as a series of movies. You could never do it as a live action show. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing would do it justice.
I feel the same way about Walking Dead, but I'm going to be in a minority there.
Well, I'll tell you what. Now that I'm caught up with the series, quite honestly, I think Kirkman's best work should be remembered as Invincible.
Wow.
For sure. It's not Walking Dead. Invincible. I mean, I know Walking Dead has reached that pop culture status, and I love Walking Dead. Don't get me wrong, I do. I love the show. I watch every episode. Big fan. I like how it's not like the comic book. We've talked about it before. I've expressed my interest in it. But as far as a piece of work, I think Invincible is top notch. I think it's.
I have not disliked a single story. And even when I'm like, this guy's a walking dinosaur, this is going to get really cheesy. And then he turns it around and it's like, this guy's the coolest character in the book. And I'm like,
it's not the Axe Cop dinosaur.
It is not, yeah.
But it kind of
does look like that, yeah, it does.
Dinosaur, doesn't it?
It might have been inspired.
Anyway, yes, it's a good series. It reminded me of everything I loved about comics as a youth.
Yep.
And that's strong.
You know, I will say this. It is a very strong series, and it's one of those books that if you're gonna get into, you got to do it right. You got to start at the beginning.
Yeah. A lot of reading, I can tell you, because I did about a half of it in less than a week.
But no matter how great it is, it still pales in comparison to.
What piece of art are we talking about?
Oh yeah!
This is when it gets real, folks. This is when you need to
You're gonna
decide.
go from Invincible to Prison Pit?
You need to decide right now.
We go from the modern masters to the modern genies.
No. You need to decide right now. You need to either turn this off or devote yourself to Prison Pit.
Grab a bottle of your favorite beverage, or several.
Grab something. You're going to need it to catch up with us. Prison Pit, folks. This is happening.
All right.
Volume 4.
Now, you just read 4 tonight.
I did. I'm going
to skim through real quick again, right before we come back.
It won't take long.
No. Oh, we're gonna go to a break and come back?
Yeah, we're going to have to. Yes, you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
Fine. Whatever. Go hit the button.
Prison Pit! Prison Pit!
I gotta tell you.
Dude, you just pissed off your wife.
I gotta tell you. We gotta review Prison Pit Volume 4. It has to be done.
It's already very late past my bedtime. And your bedtime. You probably stay up late.
I do stay up late, but not when I... Yeah, I do stay up late.
So, it is very late.
We have no choice.
And it is very...
This has to be
drunkard.
discussed.
But we gotta talk about Prison Pit Volume 4 by the genius maestro Johnny Ryan.
Yeah. And what was your research you did earlier about Johnny Ryan?
He did a bunch of comics for Vice.com, which is like an online social magazine, arts, entertainment, culture.
Of course, we're talking about.
But he also does Prison Pit.
Yep. There you go.
Which is, you know how people get weird about football sometimes? That's kind of us with Prison Pit.
Right. It's like, God, why don't you let it go?
We like to paint Prison Pit on our nipples and
right.
stand outside in the cold and just be like,
right.
Woo, Prison Pit! Which, like, you do in a football game, and like it's understandable.
Yeah.
You just do it on the corner, and people think we're weird.
Yeah.
You know? Like, how does that even work?
I know, last Tuesday, that wasn't fair. We didn't deserve that kind of abuse.
It was a warm day.
Right.
You know, we just wanted to take off our shirts and write
show our
Prison Pit.
love for Prison Pit.
Right, undigestible scrotum.
That's
I mean, who doesn't do that?
I have a mesh tank top that says I did undigestible scrotum.
I was walking through work, and the apocalypse. I had no idea anywhere near me, and I hear Prison Pit. I'm like,
I just put a walkie-talkie in his room
That was it.
underneath his bed, and he doesn't know it's there. And I just wait until about 2 o'clock in the morning. I grab mine and I just go.
All right. First of all, if you're not reading this work of art, stop whatever you're doing right now. Drop all the titles you're collecting and collect Volume 4 of Prison Pit.
If you call yourself a fan
of anything,
of life, culture, humanity,
all things good.
If you've ever been to
a Turkish prison,
a 9-to-5 job, rehab,
right,
a drum circle,
or you're drunk
or
right
prison,
now, or you're drunk right now,
then you should check out Prison Pit. That probably covers everybody. If you've ever been born and lived, you probably need to read Prison Pit.
If you're by yourself or with someone.
If you have a social security number or don't have a social security number,
or you have someone else's social security number,
whatever, go pick up Prison Pit. Start from volume 4. Then read 3. Then read 2.
Actually, it might make sense.
And then read 1.
And then you're like,
oh. So, what's going on in volume 4, Dirk? Take it away.
Well, when we last left our hero, he had just been abducted by the spiky satellite UFO thing.
Druid psycho people. With the prison heads. And they're like the crystal heads, right?
He found himself trapped in the crystal prison room.
They're kind of like viruses.
And so now he's attempting to break out of the crystal prison room, and he finds that these cultist, druid, whatever things, are in his mind. They've taken over his brain and his psyche. So the little slugworm on his arm crawls out, covers his head, and breaks their psychic bond.
And poops out the badness.
And poops out the badness, and the badness actually joins up with the arm that has been chopped off, and rebuilds a new creature to fight alongside him.
Right, he's like a big sloth.
So now he becomes an army of 2.
Right. Instead
of just by himself. So
But it's like a big stupid guy. Like, the only thing you can say is like, Fug. F-U-G-G, Fug. You know, like, he's not...
And so the 2 of them are fighting, they're able to break free of the crystal prison, they smash the heads of all these cult guys, and then you think, okay, now he's finally going to escape.
Right.
You think, obviously, 27 pages into the story, now it's like the other 80 pages are just going to be him drinking Mai Tais on the beach.
What do you think of that, like, scene where, like, he takes the knife and he slowly puts his hand into
and the guy's eyeball?
Yeah.
Like, one of the dudes is on the ground, so he just takes the knife and just, like, tip of his finger, just in front of the camera, not off to the side. Yeah. I'm sure that shows up well.
Oh. You just got an error.
I got an error.
Oh, you got battery. Charge it.
Well, yeah. That's okay. No, I still have good battery.
There he is, pushing it in through the guy's eyeball down through his head.
Pretty brutal, you know, which is kind of the theme of Prison Pit. And then, like, when he rips the crystal thing out of his chest, like, forms, like, this, like, jaw thing. It's
like a mouth but sideways.
Yeah.
If you can imagine, it's almost like the mouth, instead of being like this, is like this.
Uh-huh.
If you know, you can kind of understand where that's sideways mouth. So
and he rips the thing off his head and puts it back.
The worm thing puts it back on his arm. Only to be now attacked by 2 more creatures.
The slug stacks.
Which...
we are not going to show you this picture.
But he does throw a knife into a key part of their anatomy.
Yes.
Takes one of them down.
He plugs them up, so to speak.
And then, so then the other one, with part of his anatomy, shoots these little black worms.
Squidgilis
type creatures that resemble...
It's like they have a big head and then this tail that trails off.
Yeah. Many of them. Lots of them.
It's like he has to shoot out a whole bunch at once because not all of them are going to survive.
No.
In fact, only one might make it to attack.
Oh, that's great.
So,
excellent. There's a lot of expletives. The guy says "fug" again. F-U-G-G. Goes after the guys excreting.
So the bad guys actually attack the monster that grew out of the arm that had the poop grow into a monster. Well, one of the new monsters and that one merge together, and the bad guys take over. So now his buddy, his army of 2 buddy, is now his enemy, and he's got to fight against him.
Right.
So turn the tables. Who saw that coming? You know.
I like to see this as a journey of 2 friends through a hostile environment.
Huck Finn, you know, and
the protagonist and his worm-like friend
on an adventure.
To Mordor.
to Mordor.
Now, that's the part that
That's
makes
the part
sense.
that makes sense.
So after he fights that guy, he goes into the giant computer room,
Right.
which
has a door.
we can show it, even though it you can see the basic idea of the shape from the computer. It's wide at the bottom, has a kind of a round part at the top, and spikes. He attacks the computer with a sword, which causes it to break open, and inside the computer, you find out, this is the amazing part, is that their technology is not strictly what you think as technical. It's not all electronic. It's bio-organic.
It's organic.
Type of computer system, because when he stabs it and breaks the shell, he finds on the inside there are other organs and spots to interact, and instead of it being instead of it being like a USB port,
right?
It's almost like a mouth, right? But the mouth, instead of being like this that you think of with opening and closing and talking, it's like this, in the computer. Yeah. And so he, of course, has to find a way to interface with this computer. So, when you stab something about waist high and you get one of these sideways mouths,
thrusting motion, because that's the way it prefers to be interfaced.
Right.
It's through a thrusting motion involving
a
protuberance, as you will.
It expedites the download.
A male into a female port.
So, needless to say, he interfaces with the computer.
Right.
Many times.
Over and over and over again. And he uses it to control the flying, spiky satellite thing in the air. So now he can move around. The only problem is that some of the other guys in the prison pit world are now attracted by all the violence.
Chapter 10.
And they want
Undigestible
to see
scrotum.
what's going on. So these guys who call themselves Undigestible Scrotum, which is like a hammerhead shark guy with an extra eye on top.
Right.
There's a guy who looks like a wrestling champion, but he's got kind of this like stabby leg and a gas mask on. And then a guy who just looks like a meth head. A guy who looks like a meth head with a middle finger hand attached to the top spike. They are now there to kind of collect the remnants.
And you're kind of getting this general theme that basically there's a lot of these like
degenerates,
post-apocalyptic kind of like Thunderdome-ish.
It's a no man's land.
And creatures just kind of wandering this planet.
Every man for
They've all been thrown there, so it's kind of like Australia. Of like
today.
Today, yeah. I mean, just like
your one Australian pants. Like, no, this is too strange.
No, I mean, it's like this
Oi!
It's like this colony of thieves and bandits or whatever.
So anyway, he finds a way to escape from the satellite and to make his way outside. And in order to do that, he has to cut a hole in the side of this place. And so, of course, he cuts the hole, and it kind of looks like a mouth, but sideways. You can kind of get an idea there. He cuts a big
seed pod,
a gaping hole,
a gash,
almost like an axe wound. And makes his way outside to attack these new guys who have arrived. But as it turns out, oddly enough, these new guys are empowered with the same type of abilities as the other guys that he previously fought, which means that the standard methods of killing them that you've come to expect are not going to work because they can adapt very well in the new environment.
They're kind of like the Thing, like the
whatever
is an
John
offshoot
Carpenter's
of them.
The Thing.
Like it just like forms into something else, which would lead to
battle.
We can't really show any of those images. But the guy,
the excrement of one of the creatures,
the guy who was wearing the shirt that said "undigestible scrotum," he
turns out
it turns out that he has attempted to digest some, and they didn't digest. So instead, he turns around, drops trow, and allows them to exit his body. And when he does, they grow, and new monsters are born.
I'll quote him: Ha ha, another masterpiece. 2 frames later. Whoa, they never got this big before.
So these monsters,
that never happens.
Come out. They're like eggs almost.
Right.
So he's kind of messing with the male-female dynamic.
And then what comes out of them is like the weird demon dog. Here. Okay. So.
So he ends up killing them, but as it turns out, Undigestible Scrotum Man is not dead yet. You thought he was, but now he's back, and it turns out he has other anatomy on his body that can hide things.
He's got a come-along in a place where...
It almost looks like a mouth.
You would put your thong.
But instead of the mouth being, sideways, it's like this.
He's got a come-along where you'd put your thong. He's got a winch where...
So, anyway, our hero is able to dispatch these bad guys, but as it turns out, the little pieces of their bodies are able to rearrange and recombine and become an even bigger monster. Kind of like a Voltron or Power Rangers influence, obviously, there. And so he knows that the only way to defeat it is to get back into the big spiky satellite and go up into the air and interface with it again.
yes, interface with it.
And when he interfaces with it, I think first he tries to shoot him or whatever, and that doesn't destroy him. So then he just brings the giant satellite down and crashes into the mountaintop where the monsters are standing, and that's where it ends. Mm-hmm. So now you're almost afraid that the hero is going to die. And Volume 4 could be the end of it, and he may never come back.
Because it does go black. It always goes black at the end.
And you've always heard that once you go black, you don't come back.
Right.
And so, he could be dead. That could be the end.
So, do you have vested interest in the success of the primary character?
Yes.
Is he a protagonist?
Yes, most definitely.
Is he a protagonist?
I would be quite upset if Johnny Ryan decided to drop this.
I kind of care. Do you care about him?
I think we should just cancel the whole show.
We don't know.
I think Comiholics might just end.
We don't know his whole backstory, but I would have a sinking suspicion that, in fact, he was accused of a crime that he did not commit and was unfairly put into the prison pit. I don't think he deserves to be in the prison pit.
I think he has some interesting.
He's more of a
got an interesting take on hygiene.
I think he likes to eat anything. He will eat anything.
I think he's trying to escape to get back to his child bride. That's just where I see it going.
Or brides.
Possibly. He could be Mormon. He could be, have multiple brides. You never know.
I'm gonna have to drink another beer.
Yeah, I hope that we get to run into Johnny Ryan sometime because I really like to meet.
I'd like to shake his hand.
It's a lot of
wipe
fun.
It off.
I'd like
to give him a wet nap.
As dedicated Comiholics, I speak for myself and Dirt when I say that it's refreshing to find such a fun comic.
It is actually a lot of fun.
He doesn't speak for me, but he's right. This fun. Is one of the most,
and it is definitely for the adults.
I won't finish my sentence. Just go ahead. No, just go ahead.
What?
I
was talking. You interrupted.
I didn't want to. No, because you stopped. So
we'll talk about this later. No, it's fun. It's just a fun comic that I enjoy. And, it's a shame it's annual.
I know.
So we just covered 4 years there for you. So.
Well, no, we covered the 4th.
I think your mind can only take one per year.
Yeah, you have to absorb it the whole year before the next one that comes out. So
if you had more than one in 1 year, you'd end up rocking in a insane asylum, just in a room by yourself.
Well, what were you gonna say, Dirk?
The mowing stuff.
But it was profound.
Oh man, I am tired.
Oh,
that was it?
I guess that's it, folks.
Here, wait, let me see.
I rolled a 2.
What is it, a D20?
D20.
Alright, hold on.
If you roll a natural 20, we have to do another hour show.
8. 8. We are done.
Decidedly no.
We are done. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
If you want to leave a voicemail, don't forget you can call our 24-hour voicemail line. It's area code 217-953-4022. No, it's 4025. I would say you could send an email to us, but apparently if you send an email to any of our Comiholics.com email addresses, they don't get through. Apparently, I found out. Something's wrong in the server somewhere. So, there's probably an old lady in Poughkeepsie who's getting our emails.
About Prison Pit.
About Prison Pit. She's probably very confused. Maybe suicidal at this point, I'm not sure. But
lost all faith in the world.
If you do want to get a hold of us, the best thing to do is to actually go to jointheforums.com, go to the I Need Comics section, go to Comics Discussion, and talk to us there, and we'll respond, and whatnot. Because the whatnot is what we're key at.
Right.
We didn't drink any of this Jameson
next time.
We drank enough of the berry.
I will definitely partake of that Jameson. I didn't want to crack the bottle.
Oh, it's already been opened.
Ah, just ruined my night.
And,
you know, had some all night.
To all our Comiholics out there, happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Happy holidays. And a new year if we don't see it.
So, yep.
Hopefully we survive past December 21st.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2013.
Maybe.
You know what the best part about
follow-up for that.
You know what the best part about 2013 is?
What's that?
Prison Pit 5.
Ooh. Something to look forward to in the new year.
Forget the Mayans. What the Mayans know? They don't know
about
Prison Pit.
No, I can't curse.
Dude, if something happens, if Johnny Ryan announces on December 21st that he's not doing any more Prison Pit,
then we know it's
that
over.
will be the end of the world, and the world will end just because we will make it happen.
I think we have a signed agreement with him that we have to cancel Comiholics too.
We have to cancel reality, existence.
Yeah, the new dimension will be discovered. And if you're still listening, God love you.
May the Lord have mercy on your soul.
I hope the rest of your work goes a little faster.
Yeah. Turn this off. Find something productive.
Good night, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Wadate, tip it out.
So long. Auf Wiedersehen. Farewell.